What is up, you guys? My name is Rachel Graham, and I'm a registered nurse, a digital creator, and a mom. And today I'm going to be talking about the healing power of breastfeeding for baby, mom, and community. So, if you're a new or expecting mom or just curious about how breastfeeding impacts health, this video is for you. So, we're going to talk about the magic of breastfeeding because it's super magical, you guys. The benefits for baby, mom, and even society. So let's start off with the magic. And I'll preface this by saying I breastfed my son until he was about 3.5 years old. So I had a lot of experience with this. And it truly is something that I never thought I would do. I was actually kind of weirded out by breastfeeding. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But it just came natural. And this is exactly what happened to me, what I'm going to describe here. So, after birth, the mother's body releases oxytocin and prolactin, which help with milk letdown and to stimulate bonding. The baby is then flooded with catecholamines, which is the hormones that make him alert during the labor process. So they're able to be like way more alert than they would normally be for this first hour of life, or what's referred to as the golden hour. The baby is drawn by the smell of colostrum, and we all know what that is, right? Now they're advertising that as like adults to drink colostrum. So they're drawn by the smell of colostrum, which smells similar to the amniotic fluid environment that they were in when they were inside your body. And that has this like sensory link or cue for the baby. When the baby and mom are skin to skin, it triggers both baby and mom's bodies to sync. Their temperature syncs up, heart rate, even breathing. They become like one, which they were like an hour ago, right? This is happening in the first hour of birth, after birth. So if the baby is placed on their mom's chest right after birth and is not interrupted by any medical staff or anything else, the baby will instinctively crawl towards the breast. It's called a breast crawl. They could actually put the baby on your tummy and then the baby crawls up. That's what happened with Dangy. So, due to the rooting reflex, the sucking reflex, and the tonic neck and grasp reflex, the baby is able to crawl, search for the nipple, and suck without ever being shown how. They actually like bob their neck like this. It's the craziest thing to witness. I was like completely, I had an all natural home birth, no medications, of course, because I was at home. And the amount of like natural endorphins that flood your brain after giving birth is crazy. So I actually felt kind of like, whoa, I'm like in this like crazy state right now. But I remember every minute of that. It was like so amazing. And the midwife and my husband actually captured a lot of those moments on camera. And watching it now, it looks like I'm on drugs. It actually looks like I'm on drugs. Like I was even making weird sounds, like kind of moans and like very primal sounds. And it's just absolutely amazing to watch those back because obviously I wasn't able to see it from like a bird's eye view. But anyway, so that is the magic of breastfeeding. Reasons why the natural latch may not occur. So, due to birth interventions like C section, medications, so if you get Pitocin to start your contractions because you're not dilating properly. There's lots of other medications that they'll also give you. So it's kind of like this cascade. Once you start with the medical interventions, there's usually quite a few. And, pain management and things of that nature, if you get an epidural, that can alter the baby's level of alertness. If you're getting an intravenous drug into your bloodstream and your baby is inside of you, that baby is also getting that drug. So it makes sense, right? So another reason why this natural latch may not occur is if the baby is separated from the mother after birth, or the baby is born premature, so they would be separated from the mother after birth, or if the baby was born with what's called a tongue tie, and they physically they can't latch because they have a tongue tie, which needs to be corrected, or if the mom is experiencing stress and complications. So I actually did have a little bit of a complication. I was bleeding pretty heavily, but that time right after the birth, I was able to enjoy that time, and I didn't even know I was bleeding too much. But at a certain point, after he had nursed and I had this moment, I don't remember how long it was, the midwives were like, you should try to go to the bathroom. And they took him from me and gave him to my husband, and I then went to the bathroom. And after I sat, I like couldn't get back up. And what ended up happening is I lost like I think they said it was like 3 or 4 cups of blood, and was hypotensive, severely hypotensive. Like I was almost having to be transferred to the hospital. And I lay on the floor. I don't even know how long it was. They gave me a shot of Pitocin in my leg. And I just remember having like a Cliff Bar and like something to drink, and just being completely out of it. Like just being like how is he? Like drunk almost. And I was just like really hypotensive, but I didn't actually pass out. Never went to the hospital, but I'm so grateful that I got to have that golden hour. So in these cases, if there is some complications, birth interventions, if you did have medications, it doesn't mean you're not going to get that experience. So a lactation consultant or a nurse can actually help recreate the conditions for a successful latch. So what are some of the benefits for the baby? So breast milk is often called liquid gold, and it's for good reason. It's an immunity booster. So right from the start, breast milk is packed with antibodies, especially colostrum, which is the first milk, which lines your baby's gut and protects them from infections. The second benefit is perfect nutrition. Breast milk is the ideal combination of protein, fat, vitamins, and carbohydrates, and they adjust automatically to meet your baby's needs as the baby grows. So when I was breastfeeding my son at 1 day old or 1 hour old versus breastfeeding him at 2 or 3 years old, the macros changed in the breast milk to accommodate what he needed. And I think at the beginning, this may be inaccurate, but I think at the beginning it was more carbohydrates. And then as he was breastfeeding for longer, towards the 2 or 3 year mark, it became higher in fat and lower in carbohydrates. I could be wrong on that, but the macros do change. And then brain development. So studies show that breastfed babies have slightly higher IQ scores, I should say, may have slightly higher IQ scores and better cognitive development thanks to nutrients like DHA in the breast milk. So babies, a benefit for the baby is they also have reduced risk of illness. So breastfed babies have lower rates of ear infections, respiratory illnesses, diarrhea, sudden infant death syndrome. And long term, it can actually lower the risk of asthma, obesity, and type 1 diabetes. So basically, it's nature's way of giving your baby this very strong foundation from day one. Um, there's also some amazing benefits to having like a vaginal birth versus a C-section. But I'll get into that in another video if you guys are interested in learning more about these types of things related to birth. So what are some benefits for the mother? So breastfeeding isn't just good for the baby; it has profound effects on the mother's body and well-being. So you're going to recover faster after birth because nursing triggers the release of oxytocin, which helps the uterus contract and return to its pre-pregnancy size more quickly. It's a natural calorie burn. So producing milk burns about 300 to 500 calories a day, which can support healthy postpartum weight loss. I definitely experienced that, you guys. I did exercise for the majority of my pregnancy. Other than the first trimester, I didn't do much because I wasn't feeling too well. But I also exercised as soon as I could, basically after I had the baby. But I was eating like whatever I wanted, and the weight really melted off. I would say and I'm a person that struggles to lose weight, and I did not have to struggle, and it was definitely because of breastfeeding. So the other advantage for mom is reduced risk of disease. So mothers who breastfeed have a lower risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, and postpartum depression. And that's pretty cool. And then another great benefit is hormonal support and bonding. So, oxytocin and prolactin, the key hormones of breastfeeding, they not only help with the milk supply, but promote this deep emotional connection and a sense of calm. Oh my gosh, you guys, like the connection between my son and I feel like is so amazing and strong. And I'm not saying that's only because I breastfed, obviously, but having those moments even when as he got older, he was only breastfeeding at night. And it's this real moment, that you can really just be present with your baby. And it's a physical connection, and it's like a spiritual connection almost. It's really profound. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really did. It was, I don't know, it's just a crazy experience. And for those of you that have breastfed, you know what I'm talking about. So breastfeeding can feel challenging at times, like when they start to bite. Luckily, Danger really didn't do that. He would maybe a few times, but nothing like I know that's a reason why a lot of moms stop when the baby gets teeth because the baby's biting and it really hurts. Luckily, he didn't do that very much, but that can be uncomfortable. Your breasts getting engorged, and if you forget your pump and you're at work, oh my gosh, like you probably have to leave work because it's so painful. And then potential for mastitis, and there's lots of things that can happen. But the engorgement, I'd say, was probably my most uncomfortable. So you always have to have your pump with you everywhere you go, which can also be annoying, right? But the emotional and physical return is extremely powerful if you're able to breastfeed. So, what are the benefits for family and society? So, there is a ripple effect when breastfeeding is supported. So, it's a cost savings. I mean, formula can cost thousands of dollars per year, and breastfeeding is free. You've got fewer sick visits, meaning if you're in the United States or another country where you're paying for healthcare, that means fewer medical bills. The environmental impact. So there's no packaging, no shipping, no waste. Breast milk is the ultimate zero waste food source. How dope is that? It's so cool. Like you produce it with your own body. It's amazing. Everywhere you go, you have warm breast milk. Like, if you're bottle feeding, you have to like heat that water to the correct temperature. You can't like mix, cold tap water with formula and give it to your infant. Like, you can't do that. So the whole rigmarole of having all that with you, whereas you just pull out your boob, you know if you're like a certain type of person, you just pull out your boob at the Thanksgiving dinner table with your whole family. Or if you're more like me, you go into a private room and breastfeed, whatever you're comfortable with. But you've got it on lock. It's like on, what's the word I'm looking for, on demand, not on lock, on demand. Stronger communities. So workplaces and cultures that support breastfeeding often see healthier babies, more empowered mothers, and better long-term health outcomes. So the reality is this: breastfeeding is not always easy. Like I said, it can be painful, it can be emotional, it can be physically and mentally exhausting, and not every mom is able to breastfeed. And that is totally okay. Whether you breastfed for 2 days, 2 months, or 4 years plus, any amount makes a difference. And your child being fed, loved, and safe is obviously always best. Don't compare yourself to somebody else's journey. So if you're struggling or you're unsure, don't hesitate for Ask to Help. There's so many people that can help. Lactation consultant, doula, nurses there to support you. Reach out to an online support group of like-minded moms. Like, there's so many different supportive groups out there for breastfeeding. Another thing I will say is, do not shame moms that are breastfeeding long term. If you meet someone and they're breastfeeding their 3-year-old, do not say anything disparaging to that person, because it isn't your business whether they're breastfeeding their 3-year-old or not. You know what I mean? And in our society, it's not like as politically correct to breastfeed that long, but in other countries in the world, it's perfectly acceptable and normalized. And actually, the is it the CDC? I think it might be one of those organizations. They actually recommend to breastfeed as long as you and your baby would like to. In my mom's generation, it was like 6 months and you're done. Like, 6 months, that's all the baby needs. But now we know that that isn't true. Why would you do that? Why would you just cut the baby off? Especially when we know that the breast milk actually changes as the baby ages. So do not shame people for not breastfeeding. Do not shame people for breastfeeding longer than you think is appropriate, because it is not our place to judge, right? So why do so many moms struggle to breastfeed? So breastfeeding challenges are rarely due to a true physical inability. Did you know that? In fact, research actually shows that only 1 to 5% of women have a true medical condition that prevents them from making enough milk, such as insufficient glandular tissue or hormonal disorders. So, what are some reasons why moms struggle to breastfeed? Number one, poor initial support in the first 48 hours. So, many new moms don't receive hands on help from a lactation consultant or a nurse after birth, especially if you're like maybe in a smaller rural community. Maybe they don't have the same resources as like a bigger city would. Maybe in certain neighborhoods, there isn't as many resources. Hospital staff may be overworked or rushed. If the baby doesn't latch well right away, the mother's confidence can drop and frustration sets in. And if someone isn't there to help with that, they can just give up. Number two, conflicting or misinformed advice. So, pediatricians, nurses, family members, and even online forums often give contradictory information, like, your milk isn't in yet, so just give formula, or don't let the baby nurse too long, or they're crying, it's because you don't have enough milk. It's like that, those statements can be very damaging. Number three, cultural and social pressure. So I talked a little bit about this. In many Western cultures, bottle feeding is the norm. So breastfeeding public can feel isolating or even shameful. Moms are expected to bounce back quickly and look like they never gave birth. If breastfeeding is messy, exhausting, or time consuming, which it often is, moms may feel like they're failing. They're not looking like the Instagram breastfeeding mom that they see online, which is literally like she's cleaned everything up and taken that photo. Number 4, the physical discomfort and pain. I already talked about that, but nipple pain, engorgement, clogged ducts, or infections like mastitis can make nursing miserable. Often, this is due to improper latch or positioning, and this can usually be corrected with support. But many moms just don't know where to turn for that. Like, you can watch a YouTube video. I did that. Like there's literal techniques that you use. Like you brush the nipple over the baby's nose, you do these certain things, and it triggers them to like open their mouth in a way that they need to. And there's a certain way they have to get on there. And it's very specific. It's like doing an exercise wrong and like twisting like a muscle in your back because you're trying to do a deadlift and you do it all weird and you jack up your back in the process. Like there's a specific way to do this. Number 5, the pressure to supplement too early. So, hospitals sometimes give formula just in case without explaining how it affects supply. And then once the formula is introduced and the baby takes less from the breast, the milk production may actually decrease, which can trigger a spiral of doubt or early weaning. Number 6, returning to work without support. So, in the US, especially in the US, maternity leave is literally 6 weeks and it's unpaid for most people. Many workplaces don't accommodate pumping. I wouldn't say that that's true anymore. I think most workplaces accommodate pumping in 2025. But let me know if you have a workplace that doesn't. I'd like to know about it. Pumping is time consuming and stressful without the proper space and breaks, 100%. Number 7, mental health and sleep deprivation. So, breastfeeding can feel relentless. Sleep deprived, overwhelmed, and anxious moms, they may start to associate feeding with stress instead of bonding. So if you feel that way, that's kind of your body's natural way of saying maybe you're done. And that's okay. That's okay to be done. You shouldn't feel like a rage when your baby's latching. You shouldn't feel like, oh my God, I literally can't do this. I don't want to be touched anymore. That is a feeling like maybe you need to start weaning off. Because why would you torture yourself like that? You don't have to do that. Most breastfeeding challenges are preventable, you guys, and solvable with the right education and the right support. So, breastfeeding is so much more than feeding. It is nourishment, it is bonding, it is healing. So, if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with someone who might be preparing for their breastfeeding journey. Or if you've breastfed, you've tried it, you haven't, you couldn't, I'd love to hear about all your experiences in the comments. Please let me know, and I'll see y'all in the next one.